representatives, as well as UEFA refereeing officer Dagmar Damkova. But first, before we get started, we'll hear from UEFA Women's Euro 2022 Head of Tournament Delivery, Chris Bryant, the FA's Director of Women's Football today, UEFA Chief of Women's Football Nadine Kessler, UEFA Women's Euro. How important have these been, and are you sensing a real buzz now as the tournament gets ever closer across the country? These Euros to take place. You've spoken about how it's grown from when you played in the European Championship here these next few weeks.
I really think it's completely incomparable. Yeah, I might need to be a bit provocative, but I think in my days, people were more concerned with if my jersey fits and than the actual match results. So I really think we've come a long way. Players are being treated like athletes. We've got a sport that really turns into a proper profession, then more than just for a few. I think there is a huge shift in culture and mindset, and I think, yeah, women's football really is just a completely different sphere now. For UEFA, well, I really think it's a bit already some things that we mentioned. I think most important, we want to have a fun and inclusive environment in a festival that really also brings some joy to football, to society. I think we need that desperately these days. That's really important to us. Yes, records. We push each other. I look at Chris very much to achieve those. It's important. It's important that we have pressure now for such a tournament. I think that was also not always the case before, so we can be also proud of that pressure we created around it. But overall, really just a fantastic atmosphere. We've been just discussing it. I'm a bit obsessed with the ticketing numbers, and I keep clicking into our system quite regularly, maybe too regularly. So we're at 517,000 tickets now. Yeah, a day before the opening, from countries buying tickets from 99 different places. Who would have thought that? I mean, who would have thought that for a women's tournament? I think that wasn't the case anywhere ever before, and that is simply fantastic, and also shows how high our expectation is or what we want to achieve with it.
Yeah.
I think first of all we'd want to say it's a real privilege, and we're very proud to be doing this and to be hosting this tournament. I think as well as, you know, trying to break all the records in terms of making this such an iconic event, we also fully recognise that the women's game is growing all over Europe, and this is a fantastic opportunity to really drive it on to the next level through the profile, through the great tournament I'm sure it's going to be, great players, great sport, but also very happy audiences. And I think we shouldn't underestimate at this time how important that is just to ordinary people to come and enjoy sport in the way that I'm sure they're going to enjoy these games. And for us, the legacy is really hooked around three things. One is, you know, we want every little girl that sees this, wherever they are, to have an equal opportunity to play this game in school and in clubs. You know, here, particularly in England, it's always been very much the men's game, and we're trying to say no, every little girl should have that opportunity to play. No, that isn't true. We are looking at moving the two professional leagues into its own company. We're still a few years away from that in terms of financial sustainability, but we're working with the clubs to create a company which will be an FA subsidiary, so the FA will still be there, if you like, as a shareholder, but the subsidiary will grow. We looked at what the financial needs were. We involved a company called Rothschilds to explore the gap between what we felt we wanted to invest to really grow the game and where we were. They came back, gave us some advice, and on that advice, and the advice was not to do private equity at this time. Their advice was very different, and we followed that advice, and we're moving ahead, we hope, with the new company starting in January.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really proud of the volume of tickets that have been sold to date. I mean, like I said, there are 200,000, roughly, more tickets still available. Over 700,000 tickets have been made available for this tournament. So we think we always set the ambitions incredibly high. Obviously, we set ourselves targets to sort of, you know, get to before the tournament. I think we're just about where we thought we would be. I think kind of when it comes to looking at our ambition for the tournament, I think you have to look at that as a whole. And I think when you do look at it as a whole, look at where we are today, I think we're pretty happy with the venues and the selection that we've made. You know, there are still more tickets to sell. We want venues to be sold out. That's a huge part of our strategy. It was never just to focus on England. We always knew we had to sell out the England games to move demand to the other fixtures, because we want all teams to experience a great atmosphere in all the stadia. And we felt having the right balance of stadia was the best way to do that. So, yeah, look, I mean, we are happy. We're not complacent. There's still more tickets to sell. I won't be happy. I don't think Nadine will ever be happy either. So,